Hello students, I welcome you all to the second lecture of this course. Today we are going to see an interesting lecture, that is Nano-Biomimicry. So in this lecture we are going to learn what is biomimicry and how nanosciences uses biomimicry by using these examples like GECO, butterfly and token beaks, etc. So let us see what is biomimicry. So what is the meaning for the word mimicry? Mimicry means copying or imitating. So what is biomimicry? We are going to copy some idea from nature and we are going to develop some product which will be useful for human. So why we have to select idea from nature? Because most of the problems human face today are also faced by other organisms. So over the course of evolution, many organisms gain more efficient ways to use their environment. So that is why we are selecting the idea from the nature, because the organisms that are alive today are the successful model or products of evolution. So we could learn a lot from nature when it comes to solving our challenges in a sustainable way. So we can take an idea from nature and we can mimic that and we can make a useful product for the human beings. Okay. So let us see a simple example for biomimicry. So we got the idea of aeroplane from the bird. So this is a simple idea of biomimicry. So you can understand what is biomimicry from this simple example. So in this lecture we are not going to focus these kind of applications. So let us focus more on nano in nature. So what are the nano structures available in nature and how we can use the nanoscience and nanotechnology to replicate those structures and how we can make useful product for the human applications. The first example is GECO. So this GECO, it is one of the very good climber. It can climb any kind of surface. It can be a soft surface or it can be slippery surface. It can easily climb. So how is it possible? So the GECO feet are covered with nano size hairs. This nano size hairs will use the intermolecular forces, that is van der Waals force, so that allows the lizards to stick it to the surface very strongly. So let us look into the nanostructures available in this GECO feet. Okay. So if you see the GECO lizard feet, and you can see here there are a lot of nano hair like structures in the feet. So this is going to stick it strongly to the surface through van der Waals force. So the company GECO Biomedical, so they got the idea from this GECO feet and so they have developed a new technology called bioglue or adhesive. Based on this they made a very good biocompatible adhesive that is called as biocompatible patch. So what is the meaning for biocompatible? That means the material which is compatible with your biological system, that is called as biocompatible material. So this biocompatible adhesive, it can seal your wounds or it can patch a hole caused by stomach ulcer or any other, and this adhesive is elastic and it is waterproof and it is made of material that breaks down as the injury heals, that is the material is biodegradable. That means if the material will degrade inside the biological system and it will not cause any immune response or toxic effect, that is called as biodegradable material. So this material is biocompatible as well as it is biodegradable material. So what was the idea? So if there is a wound or anything, so you can apply this glue and apply the UV light and this will seal the wounds. So how this biocompatible patch work? Let us see. So this is a adhesive. This adhesive is made up of two biomolecules. One is glycerin and other one is an acid. So this will be activated by a UV light. So this adhesive is patent protected, and this we can use this wet adhesive for sealing the wounds. How this wet adhesive works? Because most of the adhesives lose their potency in a wet environment, but this does not need a dry surface. So this can work on in presence of blood without reacting chemically. So that is the advantage of this wet adhesive, and this biocompatible patch work like your velcro, like a tissue velcro. It grow into the tissue and holding it together. So this idea is that the patches fill the wound and are biocompatible and it don't need to be taken off. So that is the advantage of this biocompatible glue. I guess there is a lot of clinical trials going on this and soon it will be available in the commercial for human use. So let us see the another example. Not only for biomedical application, we can also take the idea of GECO and we can make a adhesive tape. So we can, when compared to the normal tape, we can see here this tape is very strong and it is reusable. We can remove it a number of times because this is sticking based on the van der Waals force, and you can see the capacity, it can carry even 1 kilogram of weight and the maximum weight it can lift is 130 kilogram. And if you see that, what is the reason? Again, it has a nano kind of has arrangement on the GCO feed, and for seeing this nano arrangement you need a specialized microscope called electron microscope. So for normal objects you have to use the light microscope, but when you want to see something in the nano structure, nano level, you have to use electron microscope like transmission electron microscope or scanning electron microscope to the nanoscale structures. So from the GCO feed we can make a GCO shoes, so that will be useful for the people those who are going for mountaineering, and also it will be useful for the people those who have disability in walking or some old age people, those may need this kind of GCO based shoes which will have strong grip on the surface, and it will also have a better stability and prevent slipping when you are climbing or descending. So we can have this GCO shoes, and it could be have a very good applications and useful for human beings. And let us see another example, that is spider foods, and the spider food is also based on these nanostructures. So if you see that the spider food also have that nanoscale pulling at the same time, and it lifts the leg, so the setiles are lifted successfully, not all at once. If you see that how the spider walks, it lifts the leg slowly and it will walk. That means it lifts its leg so that all the setiles lift successfully, not all at once. So based on that we can have a space suits for astronauts, so that will help them to stick to the walls of spacecraft like a spider. So let us see another example, moth eyes. So if you see these moth eyes, we can develop similar kind of nanomaterials. So University College London researchers, they have developed a smart window based on the moth eyes. So they imitated these moth eyes and they have made a nano structure similar to that, and this nano structure is having all these property like self cleaning, energy saving and anti glare property. So what is self cleaning property? So when the water falls on this structure, it will easily roll off and it pick up all the dust and dust particles, and it is energy saving. How it is energy saving? This glass is coated with very thin 5 to 10 nanometer of vanadium dioxide, and this material is low cost as well as it is very abundant material, so we can easily use it, and during the cold period it stops the thermal radiation and it prevents the heat loss, and during the hot periods it prevents the infrared radiation from the sun entering the building, and it also work like a anti glare and anti reflective properties. So let us see another example, chameleon. So you might have seen that chameleon changes the color according to the environment. So we can take the idea from that, we can make such kind of material which can change color when you apply a pressure or when you apply a small amount of force. So researchers from University of California, so they developed a ultra thin material, so that can change color on demand by bouncing back light on the nanoscale level. So this chameleon scale material actually change the color when you apply some force to this material. So this material is made up of small tiny ridges, and this is made up of silicon layer approximately 120 nanometers thickness, and again it is flexible. So the spacing of the ridges produces different colors, and also another important property of this material is, so it can bounce back up to 83% of incoming light, which makes it quite efficient at producing those different kind of colors. And one of the major problem nowadays what we are facing is the microbes like bacteria getting resistant to the antibiotics. So we have to develop new antibiotics to kill all those bacteria. So it is day by day it is getting increased. So what we can do is we can take the idea from nature. So one of the important example is cicada fly. So the wings of this small fly have a nano scale pillar structure. You can see here these wings have this kind of nano scale pillar structures, and this pillar is nanometers in diameter and it is separated at a nanometer interval. So when the, and you know the size of bacteria is in the range of micrometer, and this picture you can see this red color is the bacteria and this is the nano pillars. So when the bacteria stick on the surface of nano pillars, and this nano pillars can pierce the membrane of bacterial cells and it can tear the bacteria and it can destroy the bacteria. So what idea we can get from this? We can make similar kind of nano pillars coatings okay. So that can prevent the bacterial infection. So these kind of coatings can be applied in the public places or public toilets. So this can prevent the bacterial infection. So another idea is Chinese researchers, they got the idea from the fish. So what kind of idea they got? Usually the fish repel oil by trapping water within the scales to create a self cleaning and oil repellent coat. So they got the idea from the fish and skeleton flowers to make such kind of transparent underwater surface that stays clean by repelling oil. So you can see this figure. So this is silica made by the Chinese group, and what is this, like they made a nanoscale arrangement on this silica surface. In the air the surface is misty, but underwater you can see here it has a high transparency and it repels oil. They can take the idea from the skeleton flower. You can see here the skeleton flower's petals appears white, but when it connects with water it becomes transparent. It is not due to the pigment, but loss of cell structure in the plant petals, okay. So on sunny days during summer season, what happens is air liquid interface of the petals causes diffuse reflectance, but in case of rainy season what happens is water interface will happen and it increasing the light transmission so that they become transparent. So this researchers, they use this idea and they made a transparent oil repellent surface, so which will have a lot of applications in biology as well as underwater optics. So the researchers have used femtosecond laser ablation to create rough nanostructures on a silica glass surfaces, and they made a surface that combines both of the systems and it turns transparent and it repels oil when in water. So they got the idea from the fish and the skeleton flower and they made a transparent and oil repelling surface. So let us see the another example, peacock feathers. So the beautiful colors of peacock feathers is also due to nanoscale arrangement. Usually the color arises from wavelength selective absorption and wavelength selective reflection, but in case of peacock, these scientists found that the pigmentation in peacock feathers, instead of reflecting light, it serves to absorb the randomly scattered light, and that makes the beautiful color of peacock feathers. Let us see the peacock feathers in zoom. So here you can see here the beautiful color of peacock feathers. It is due to this nanoscale arrangement of photonic crystals. Okay. So let us see some of the simple examples. So you might have seen the butterfly wings, it has a lot of beautiful colors. So what is the reason for these beautiful colors? If you see that, again nanoscale arrangement. So what are the nanoscale arrangement? The butterfly wings are layers of nanoparticles and it is separated by the layers of air. So the thickness of the layers changes the color that we see. When you see that butterfly wings under the electron microscope, you will get this kind of nanoscale arrangement. So how do you mimic these colors? So the layered nanostructure of butterfly wings inspire scientists to develop textiles by assembling nanoparticles into layers from the bottom up. So you can do the layer by layer assembly and you can make such kind of textile material. So this kind of textile material will give a different kind of color in the indoor light and it can give a different kind of color in the outdoor light. And again another example is from the same butterfly, like you can notice that the color of butterfly wings change based on the angle you look at them, okay. So why it is happening? This happens because the wings are made up of nano thin layers that cause the light to reflect differently. So scientists got the idea to develop such kind of intelligent solar panel so that it can harvest more amount of solar light. And again the butterflies emit light and they know how to emit light 30 million years ago, and this African butterfly is a very good example for developing such kind of high emission light emitting diodes. So scientists are trying to mimic it and they are trying to develop high emission LEDs. So and again not only that, the butterfly wings can also be a very good sensor for heat as well as various chemicals. So researchers from GE Global Research, they discovered that the nanostructures on the wing scales of morpho butterflies have very good sensing capability. So this will allow the scientists to build very good sensitive sensors which can detect the heat as well as it can detect more than 1000 different kind of chemicals. So if you see the morpho butterfly wings, it have very good nanoscale arrangement and here you can see here how they use this butterfly wings for checking the chemical sensitivity. And when you apply the alcohol, the color of butterfly wings is different. When you apply the toluene, the color of butterfly wings get changed. So based on that, we can make a chemical sensor, simple chemical sensor. And again here you can see here, when you apply the heat, the butterfly wings color gets changed. So based on the principle, we can make a similar kind of material, and that can be a very good heat sensor as well as chemical sensor. And you might have observed that butterflies fly more here and there during the rainy season, but it won't get any wet. How is it possible? Because the butterfly wings not only colorful, it have very good hydrophobic property. So let us see how we can use this hydrophobic property and what is the mechanism, how it is having self-cleaning property. So if you see the butterfly wings, it has a very good super hydrophobic surface. Okay. So this hydrophobic surface makes a water like a ball, and it will roll from the surface and taking all the dirt. You can see here the red color is the dirt and the blue color is the water. So the water drops rolls rather than slides, and it has a nanostructures like a tiny waxy spikes. Okay. So it will prevent the water droplet to reach the underlying material, and the force of the rolling water is greater than the force of attraction between the surface and dirt, so that it can easily wash away all the material. So the butterfly wings have very good self cleaning property because of its super hydrophobic nature, as well as it has a tiny waxy spikes. Similarly, lotus leaf also have such kind of nano size ridges and wax cut hairs. So this phenomena is called as lotus effect. So based on this principle, based on this idea, we can make similar kind of hydrophobic textile materials. So you can see here, this is a scanning electron microscope picture of your lotus leaf. It has a tiny nano ridges, and this is super hydrophobic, and when the water droplet falls on that, it rolls on the surface and it remove all the dirt particles or bacteria. So we can make a super hydrophobic t-shirts or shirts which will have a very good hydrophobic, and we don't have to wash the shirts using detergent. You just simply dip in the water, it will clean your shirts. So this kind of t-shirts or shirts, it will be useful for the students, those who are staying in the hostels. You don't have to wash the t-shirts or shirts using the detergent, just dip these t-shirts in the water, that will clean all your dirt and stains. Not only that, we can also make a non-sticky bottle. We don't want to waste even a single drop of ketchup. So and also we can make like a super hydrophobic coating based plastics, which will also have a lot of applications. So you can also think some new ideas. For example, you can have such kind of coatings on the car, so that you don't have to take your car to service center for cleaning your car. It will have the self cleaning property, and also self cleaning shoes or football, and again you can have a water repellent clothing materials. Okay. So we can think of something like that. So next idea is carbon nanotube forest. Okay. So from the namib beetle, how we can make the nanotube forest. So this namib beetle lives in the desert, and it collects the dew to drink using nanodots on its back. So this namib beetle has a nanodots on the surface. It will collect the dew and it will drink the water from that. So based on that, researchers from Rice University, they have modified the carbon nanotube. So what is carbon nanotube? The carbon nanotube is like a simple graphene sheet rolled into tubular form. So they use the carbon nanotube, and they have slightly modified the carbon nanotubes. What they did is, the nanotubes are super hydrophobic, that means water repelling bottom, and it has a hydrophilic, that is water loving top. That means the top is water loving and the bottom is water repelling. So this carbon nanotube based forest, it can attract the water molecules from the air, because the sides are naturally hydrophobic, so that it can trap them inside. And again, it does not require any external energy, and it keeps the water inside the forest. So whenever you want the water, you can squeeze the forest and take the water. And again, the another important property of this carbon nanotube is we can reuse it. That is one of the important property of this carbon nanotube forest. So based on the namib beetle, a company Dew Bank, they made a water bottle. So from namib beetle, they made a Dew Bank bottle. Okay. So let us see how the bottle works. So this is made up of metal, so which have the cold property. It gathers the water in the air, and it has a uneven form surface. Okay, so this uneven form creates more dewdrops by widening the superficial area of air, and it has a narrow gap, so it allows the water to enter into this, and it will prevent the contamination of foreign material. You can see here the water droplet falls and rolls into the bottom. So you keep this water bottle in the night time, and morning your water is ready for drinking. So let us see another example, toucan beaks. So if you see the bird, the beak is very big size when compared to its body size, but still it is able to manage it, and it is able to fly, and it is able to break the food materials. So how is it possible? So when you see the beak under the electron microscope, it have a very good nanostructure. It is a strong material as well as it is a lighter material, so it can carry it, at the same time it is a very strong material. So we can make something similar to that. So what we can do is, we can take the idea from the toucan beaks, and we can make such kind of automotive panels, so that will protect the passengers, and also we can make some construction of ultralight aircraft components, which is also useful in aerospace industries. So let us see another example, woodpecker beaks. So the woodpecker beaks, so you can see here the woodpecker makes blow into tree trunk, and its beak repeatedly strikes at a speed of 6 to 7 meter per second, and the impact of deceleration in the order of 1000 g, and still it is able to maintain its proper structure. It is the bone is not getting damaged, or the head is not getting injured, and it is able to protect the brain. So what kind of idea we can get from this? We can make similar kind of shock absorber or helmets. So they have did a study and comparing the beaks from different birds like hen and toucan beaks, and they studied it, the dimension and aspect ratio of height over the width of keratin scale from each bird are different according to their functions, and again the inner layers of the beak shows various porosities according to their function. That means this when you compare with the several birds, they are telling that this woodpecker beak has very good keratin composition, as well as the beak has very good porosity, so that act like a very good shock absorber. So what idea we can get from woodpecker beak? We can mimic that idea, and we can make a shock absorber which can protect the person, and we can also make a car bumper and athletic helmets. So last year there was a research publication, and in this they have shown that they made a smart collar. So what they did is, they got the idea from the woodpecker, and they made a smart collar. It applies, this collar will apply a gentle compression to your jugular veins, and it slightly reduce the amount of blood flowing back to the heart after every beat. So this smart collar will protect your brain from moving around so much inside when the skulls get hit. So it will protect the brain when there is a head injury or when you are facing some kind of accident. And another example is shark skin. So you might have seen that sharks swim very fast. So how is it possible? If you see the shark skin, it has a very good nanoscale arrangement, and this micro and nanoscale levels reduce the drag, and it makes the sharks to swim very fast in the water. The scientists got the idea, and they made similar kind of drag chutes for the athletes. So this will be useful for the swimmers. So let us see another simple example, bacteria flagella. You might have seen that bacteria move from one location to other location using the flagella. If you closely observe this flagella, it looks like a nano machine or nano motor. You can see here the size of this flagella is 10 nanometer in diameter and 10,000 nanometer long helix, and it goes like 20,000 rpm. What is rpm? Revolution per minute or rotation per minute. Okay. So and again it reverses within 1 milliseconds. So which is not possible by any human made machines. So it rotates at the speed of 20,000 rpm, and it reverses directions within 1 milliseconds. And so we can take the idea from this bacteria flagella, and we can make similar kind of nano motors and nano machines, which will also have a very good application. So based on that, we can make a nano robots or nano machines which can swim very fast, and it can deliver the drug in your body. So similarly, we have plenty of examples, okay, and from these lectures we have understood what is biomimicry and we have also understood how the nanosciences uses biomimicry for making useful products for the human applications. So, I will end my lecture here. Thank you all for listening. I will see you in another interesting lecture.